Welcome to Lovegrove Wellness. Before you begin, please ensure that you are in good physical condition and ready to exercise. If you have any questions in regards to this, please consult with your doctor. Core and leg strength flow. Starting off in child's pose. Knees slightly wider than the hips, feet together and pushing back onto the heels with the arms out in front. Just taking some breath now in and out through the nose. Nice long in breath and even longer as you take that exhale. Just allowing yourself to ground and taking a few moments to set an intention for your practice today. That may just be to remain present, or you may have another intention that you'd like to set for your practice. Taking a few more breaths here, focusing on a nice long exhale. Moving into a cobra flow now, striking cobra, striking the mat with the chest, coming into a cobra or up dog with the inhale, and then exhale, rounding the back, pushing back to child's pose. So inhale to scoop forwards, and then exhale as you push back. So just working through some mobility through the spine, opening up the chest, and just working with that breath, getting used to the inhale and the exhale. Settling back into child's pose now, we're going to move up onto the hands and knees and find tabletop pose. Stacking the wrists in line with the shoulders and the knees in line with the hips. Just engaging the core, making sure that we're keeping the core nice and strong as we're working on strength work today. And we'll take some mobility through the spine with cat and cow pose. Taking an inhale to cow pose and then exhale to cat pose. As you inhale, lifting the chest and tailbone, arching the back, opening up the chest, and then exhale, scooping the belly up, dropping the head and tailbone and finding cat pose. Working through those two poses now with the inhale and exhale. Returning back to center, moving into some pointers for core stability. So from your neutral spine position, lifting the right arm and the left leg with an inhale, lengthening away, and then exhale to release back down again to tabletop. And then switching sides, left arm and right leg, and then replacing back down to find tabletop pose. So switching now nice and slow, lifting up, trying to keep the legs slightly lower than the hip to keep the back square and straight, and then lowering, and then other side, extending away and coming back to tabletop. And again, taking that inhale as you lengthen the fingers and the toes away. Exhale to lower back down to the mat. Inhale, reaching away, keeping the head in line with the spine, eyes to the mat. Exhale to lower. Taking it through 2 more times now at your own pace. Twice more on each side, and then returning back to tabletop when you're ready. Side plank, bring the left hand to the center between the shoulders, and then as you inhale, take your right arm up towards the sky and exhale to turn into a side plank on the knee, extending the right arm up towards the sky and the right leg long onto the mat. You might wish to take the left foot slightly behind you to create a right angle with the leg for a more stable base. We're going to lift the right leg up now in line with the hip if you can, and as you do so, think about pushing the hips forwards and stacking your wrist in line with your shoulder. When you're ready, return back to tabletop pose in the center. Taking the kneeling side plank on the second side, bring the right hand to the center, and as you inhale, extending the left arm and the left leg away. Pushing the hips forwards and adjusting that bottom leg if you need to. Lifting the left leg up in line with the hips, stacking the shoulder in line with the wrist, keeping the core strong. And then when you're ready, returning again back to tabletop pose. Let's start to fire up the core now by taking a plank hover. So from tabletop, tucking the toes under and lift the knees 1 inch off the floor. We're going to hold here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Taking an inhale, and as you exhale, pull your hips high to find downwards facing dog. Take a few moments to find your downwards facing dog. Feet hip width apart. Spread your fingers wide with the middle finger facing forwards and rolling the armpits in towards each other to open the shoulders. If it's more comfortable for the legs, you may wish to bend the knees slightly, press the chest towards the thighs and keep the tailbone lifted nice and high. Continuing to work into plank pose, take an inhale and roll forwards into a high plank. As you exhale, pull the hips up again to find downwards facing dog. Taking this 4 more times, inhale coming forwards to plank, exhale pulling the hips high to downwards facing dog. And again, inhale rolling forwards, wrists in line with the shoulders, exhale pulling back to down dog. Inhale coming forwards, keep the core engaged. Exhale, pulling the hips up high. And 1 more, inhale coming forwards, moving that body as 1. And exhale, pulling back to downwards facing dog. Lowering back down to your knees now into tabletop, we're going to work through that whole sequence again from the tabletop hover. Tucking the toes under and lifting the knees, holding here for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Taking an inhale and then exhale, pulling the hips high to downwards facing dog. Coming back to your down dog to plank flow, inhale to come into high plank, exhale to downwards facing dog. Inhale coming forwards into high plank, exhale to downwards facing dog. And again 3 more times, inhale core strong, rolling forwards, exhale pulling back to downwards facing dog, open shoulders, inhale to come forwards, Exhale, pushing back. And last time, coming forwards with your inhale. And then exhale to downwards facing dog. Dropping the knees now and finding child's pose, pushing back onto those hips. Moving back into downwards facing dog, pulling the hips up high on the exhale, keeping the shoulders open. Take the right leg up towards the sky for three-legged dog. Inhale. Exhale for open three-legged dog, bending the knee and opening the hip. Inhale to straighten back to three-legged dog. And then exhale to shift the weight forwards over the wrist for extended plank pose. Let's take that flow again now. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, open three-legged dog. Inhale to extend and exhale, flowing forwards into a strong plank pose. One more time. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale to open the hip. Inhale to lengthen and exhale to plank. Coming back into downwards facing dog now, setting the foot down, taking the other leg, left leg lifts. Inhale, exhale to bend the knee, open the hip. Inhale to extend the leg, keep the shoulders square, and exhale to plank pose. Inhale, pulling the hips high, three-legged dog. Exhale, open the hip. Inhale to extend and exhale to plank. One more time now. Inhale, lifting the leg high. Exhale, the hip opens, so bend the knee. Inhale to extend and exhale to come back to plank pose. Setting the foot back down to downwards facing dog, we'll move into a vinyasa. Rolling forwards, round the upper back, tuck the chin in and come into high plank. Inhale. Exhale, lower halfway for chaturanga. Inhale, lifting into cobra or upwards facing dog. And exhale to push back and find downwards facing dog. Taking the flow two more times. Inhale to plank. Exhale, lower chest first. Inhale, rising, open the shoulders. And exhale, push back, hips high for downwards facing dog. One more vinyasa, rolling through. Inhale. Exhale, lower, elbows squeeze back. Inhale, engage the legs, push the feet into the floor. And exhale to downwards facing dog. From downwards facing dog, begin to walk the feet towards the hands. And then slowly roll up through the spine, bringing the head up last, coming into a standing position. Finding mountain pose, feet hip width apart or big toes together, we'll move into a sun salutation variation. Inhale, extended mountain pose. Exhale, bend the knees, hinge from the hips, forward fold, long spine. Inhale, step the right foot back into a lunge, knee in line with the ankle. Exhale, lift the chest, low lunge. Inhale, rise the arms up in line with the ears. And exhale to find the space between the shoulders, holding your high lunge here. For 1, 2, maybe a slight back bend if you want. 3, 4, and 5. Bringing the hands back down to frame the front foot, taking an inhale. Exhale, stepping back to find downwards facing dog. Moving into a strength vinyasa now. Rolling into high plank. Inhale. Exhale, lower halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, push up to high plank. Exhale, pull the hips high, downwards facing dog. Repeating that sequence 2 more times. Vinyasa. Inhale, rolling to high plank. Exhale, chaturanga, elbows pull back, strong core. Inhale, pressing up. Exhale, downwards facing dog. Once more now, inhale, rolling forwards, tucking the chin in and rounding the upper back. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, pushing up. Exhale, pulling back to downwards facing dog. This time taking a full vinyasa, rolling to plank, inhale. Exhale, lower. Chaturanga. Inhale, finding cobra or upwards facing dog, pushing the tops of the feet into the floor and opening the shoulders. Exhale, push back to find downwards facing dog, and we'll hold here for 5 breaths. Holding for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Taking the right leg high, inhale for 3-legged dog. Exhale to step between the hands, finding a low lunge. Inhale, sweep the arms long in front, and exhale to hold here. Reaching from your fingertips to the back heel to create a nice long line. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. We're going to come into Warrior 3. Shifting the weight forwards onto the front foot, inhale, and then exhale to lift the back leg high for Warrior 3, aiming for a straight line from your front fingertips to your back foot, keeping the back hip and knee square facing towards the mat, focusing your eye line and focusing on the breath to keep the balance. Bringing the hands back down to the floor and stepping the back foot down into a lunge. Take an inhale and then exhale, stepping the other foot back, dropping onto the knees, and find child's pose for a resting position. Coming back onto the knees, tuck the toes and pull the hips high for downwards facing dog. Completing our sequence, step the right foot between the hands, inhale to lunge, and left foot in, forward fold. Inhale, rise the arms up, extended mountain pose. Exhale, arms lower, mountain pose. Repeating the sequence second side. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, dive forward into a forward fold. Inhale, step your left foot back into a low lunge, and exhale to lift the chest, finding low lunge pose. Inhale, sweep the arms high, and exhale to find high lunge, finding space between the shoulders, pushing the back heel away and lengthening the back leg, lifting the eye line and finding space in the front of the body, maybe a slight back bend here. Bringing the hands back down to frame the front foot, take an inhale and then exhale to step back to find downwards facing dog. We're going to move back into our strength vinyasa flow now. Inhale, roll forwards to high plank. Exhale, lower halfway chaturanga. Inhale, press up, high plank. Exhale, hips high, downwards facing dog. 2 more times for this vinyasa. Inhale, rolling forwards. Exhale, lower halfway, keeping the body nice and strong. Inhale, press up, and exhale, push back, downwards facing dog. Once more now, last time. Inhale to roll forwards. Exhale, lower halfway, elbows draw back by the sides of the body. Inhale, push up, and exhale to find downwards facing dog. Moving all the way through now into our basic vinyasa, rolling to high plank. Inhale, exhale, lower. Inhale to find cobra or upwards facing dog, engaging the legs, and exhale to find downwards facing dog, and we'll hold here for 5 breaths. Feet hip width apart, bending the knees if necessary, pressing the chest towards the thighs and looking between the legs. Opening the shoulders by rolling the armpits in towards each other. Inhale to rise the left leg for three-legged dog. Exhale, step between the hands, finding low lunge. Inhale, sweep the arms forwards and exhale for your low lunge reach, holding here, reaching long from the fingertips to the back heel and working through strength in the front leg. Moving to Warrior 3, shift the weight forwards, inhale, exhale, lifting the back leg, finding Warrior 3 pose, keeping the hip and the back knee facing towards the mat, and focusing the eye line to keep your balance. Bringing the hands back down now to the floor, taking the back foot down, finding lunge, stepping back, and then dropping the knees into child's pose. From child's pose, coming back to downwards facing dog, push up onto the knees and then tuck the toes, pull the hips up high. Moving straight into a low lunge, step your left foot between the hands and then start to rotate, walking the hands round, coming into a wide forward fold. Toes facing forwards or slightly in towards each other, and if it's more comfortable on the backs of the knees, you may wish to bend the knees. With the hands on the floor, start to lengthen the arms away from you, and we're going to move into some chest openers. Inhale, lifting the right arm up, opening the chest, and exhale to come back down. Inhale to open the left arm, and then exhale, coming back down. Going to take those rotations again, so inhale, right arm rises, exhale to lower, and then the left arm, inhale, opening up, and exhale to lower back down. One more rotation each side. Inhale the right arm, exhale lower, and left arm, inhale, exhale, coming back down. Keeping the feet wide, turn the heels in with the toes turned out, bend the knees, start to circle the arms up for extended mountain pose, inhale, and then exhale to bend the knees, bring the palms to the chest, coming into goddess pose. Holding in goddess pose to work through the leg strength, keeping the tailbone tucked under, chest lifted. Staying in goddess pose, start to lift the left heel up off the floor. Going to hold here for 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switching over, placing the heel down, lifting the right heel, holding for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Holding back in the center for goddess pose now for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Rising the arms up, inhale, exhale, folding back down into your wide forward fold, straightening the toes back up, and then walking the hands back round to face the front foot into a lunge. Step the back foot in to meet the front foot and find forward fold. Inhale, circle, sweep the arms high in line with the ears. Exhale, sink the hips back, bend the knees and find chair pose. Making sure you can see the toes in front of the knees, eyes to the floor or up to the hands, and find space between the shoulders. We're going to work through now 3 rounds of a core-based strength sequence. From chair pose, start to reach the arms forwards and lower the hips, coming into tiptoe pose. From here, dropping back onto the seat, reaching the arms in front, squeeze the legs together, finding high boat pose. Lengthen the legs away, start to drop the chest, find low boat pose. From low boat pose, this is a challenge. We want to try and rock back and then come back to tiptoe pose into that low squat. Then lowering the heels, rise the arms, coming back into chair pose, straightening the legs and lowering the arms, coming back to mountain pose. Let's have a go at that strength sequence 2 more times. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale to find chair pose. Dropping down, lifting the heels, reach the arms forwards into tiptoe squat pose. Dropping back onto the hips, squeeze the legs together into high boat pose. Lengthen the legs, drop the chest, find low boat pose. Bend the knees, rock yourself back, and then come back into tiptoe squat pose. Lifted heels if you can. Rising the arms, lower the heels, find chair pose. And then lengthening the legs, drop the arms back down into mountain pose. We'll take that sequence 1 more time. Inhale, rise the arms up, find the space in the shoulders, and exhale for chair pose. Lowering down, find tiptoe squat pose. Keep the chest lifted, core strong. Lowering back onto the hips, find high boat pose. Lengthen the legs, lower the chest for low boat pose. Bringing the knees back in, and from here just drop the feet to the mat and take the hands behind you. We're going to start to lower all the way down into a lying position now. Just find a few moments of stillness here in Shavasana on your back to reset. And then when you're ready, taking hold behind the backs of the legs, slowly rocking forward and back through the spine, coming up to a cross-legged position and either rolling straight over onto the hands and knees for tabletop, or swing the feet round to the back and find tabletop pose. From here, start to drop back onto the heels, bring the knees together, moving into baby camel pose. Take the hands slightly behind you and then start to push the hips up off of the heels to stretch out the fronts of the legs where we've been working on some strength work. You can either keep the chin tucked in or let the head go if that feels okay on the neck. Tucking the chin back in when you're ready, bring yourself back onto the hands and knees and then find our resting pose, child's pose. From child's pose, start to lower yourself all the way down onto your front to stretch through the fronts of the legs further. Prop yourself up on the forearms and then bring the right foot in towards the body, pulling the foot towards the bottom and pushing the hips towards the mat to work through the hip flexors and the quads. Releasing that foot, switch sides, bringing the left foot up towards the body, pulling the foot in towards you, pushing the hips to the mat, and just keeping the eyes down towards the mat so as not to put any strain through the neck. Releasing the foot, start to walk yourself back up and then bring the legs round to the front, coming into a seated position. Bring the legs out straight in front of you to find Dandasana, staff pose. Toes pointing towards the ceiling so that we're keeping the legs engaged, Bring the hands either side of you and sit up nice and tall. If this feels uncomfortable, you may wish to take the feet slightly apart and bend the knees, or maybe place a cushion under the seat to help elevate the hips. Forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms high. Exhale, hinging from the hips, finding your forward fold, lengthening the body over the legs. Nice long spine from the tailbone through to the crown of the head. And think about pulling the tailbone away from the body and tilting the pelvis down towards the mat. Try to create some space in the body by engaging the core, and then maybe just taking the hands down the sides of the body, or if it's available to you, taking the hands around the sides of the feet, maybe interlacing the fingertips behind the feet. Using the long exhale to work slightly lower into this stretch. Inhale to reach the arms forwards, and then exhale, rise the arms back up. Bring the hands back down by the sides, coming back into staff pose. From a seated position, bend the knees, come to the top of the mat, take hold behind the backs of the legs and roll all the way down through the spine into a lying position. Bring the arms out wide in line with the shoulders, palms facing down, and we'll move into some twists. Bring the knees up in line with the hips at a right angle. Take an inhale and exhale to drop the knees over to the right side. Keeping the shoulders square, stacking the knees on top of each other, taking the eye line up towards the ceiling or in the opposite direction over to the left hand. Inhale to bring the knees back through center, and exhale to drop the legs over to the left side, shoulders square, eyes up to the ceiling or over to the right hand. Inhale to bring the knees back to center, and then exhale to lengthen the legs out long and find a comfortable lying position on your back. Coming into Shavasana. We'll just work into a few moments now to take the time to reflect on your practice today. So either softening your eye gaze or completely closing the eyes. Just bring the awareness back to the breathing. And as you breathe, just start to be aware of the breath and the way that the breath is moving your body. As you inhale and exhale. As you inhale, notice the body rising, filling up with air. And as you exhale, notice the body relaxing and releasing and letting go of any tension as you take your out breaths. Nice long inhale, and then even longer as you take that exhale. Inhaling, and as you get to the top of the breath, try not to hold, just taking that exhale straight away. And just visualize sending that breath down the length of the arms and the legs. Just noticing how your body is feeling now at the end of your practice today. And observing if you're feeling any tension or resistance still in the body. And using that breath to work into those areas. So using the exhale to try and release any tension that you might still be holding on to. Visualize sending that breath to the part of the body where you're feeling the tension. Just relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, feeling the space between the shoulders. Letting go of any tension that you might be feeling in your neck. And automatically, as you let that go, you'll feel yourself exhale. Just releasing any stresses or anything that is worrying you at this moment. Just taking this time for yourself to reflect on your practice. And if you find the mind starts to wander, that's absolutely fine. Try not to fight that feeling, but just let those feelings and those thoughts come and go. And just to help you refocus, maybe just bringing the awareness back to the breathing again. Just focusing again on the gentle inhale and exhale. Staying here for a few moments now, taking this time to reflect. When you feel ready, just start to bring some awareness back into the physical body. Maybe starting to make small movements with your fingers and your toes. Slowly moving the head side to side. And you might want to stretch your arms and legs out long. And then maybe bring the knees in towards the chest. Give them a hug and take a rock side to side. When you feel comfortable, roll onto your right side away from your heart, maybe making a pillow with the arm for the head. And just take a few moments here, there's no rush. Keeping the eyes closed if you need to. And then finally returning back up to a seated position. Slowly blinking the eyes open and allowing the light back in. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for today's practice for core and leg strength.